All right, so let's move on from talking about Cloverfield Paradox to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer. Now, everybody here saw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Now, Dusk, what were your first initial thoughts when you saw it?
I was intrigued that they showed flashbacks initially of Civil War. That was probably a good place to start. Then they kind of tended back to the Wasp character, and it seemed like they kind of had still the comedy in mind, and just kind of seeing his world kind of break down, even though he just spent all of one movie trying to get it back up. That was kind of interesting. Still using small gadgets, so that was interesting. I guess overall, I wasn't terribly too impressed by the trailer,
Okay.
at least on my initial viewing. It wasn't until I watched it again that I thought to myself, we're getting Black Panther soon,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Infinity War,
Right.
and this will maybe take place afterwards.
Timeline wise, or as far as
Timeline-wise,
like,
or far as I'm actually not talking about timeline, but even just actual release, our own
Okay.
lives. I think that's actually I think I'm glad that it just is one of the Ant-Man is probably one of the most farthest standalone of the Marvel properties, where he that property can stand by itself, not too attached to anything. I think it's all right that this movie can just be a fun levity movie.
Mm-hmm.
The first movie was a nice romp. I had a lot of fun with it. I was really sad that Edgar Wright wasn't gonna do this because I really love Edgar Wright movies.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got to see Baby Driver, and then Baby Driver was both I really enjoyed, but I understand why some people had their misgivings or didn't really exactly like it, especially after the first 20 minutes. And I can admit,
that
all
was
right,
a great 30-minute movie.
sure. As again, I said I agree to some extent, but I still enjoyed the movie to its fullest. But I can see why Ant-Man is the way it is and why Edgar Wright wasn't able to continue. I'm cautiously optimistic. The trailer was quite interesting. The dynamic between Wasp and even Hank Pym and even Paul Rudd's character, they have good chemistry. I like that it's just kind of they have a very limited character list, so you get to really know these characters more intimately. So it'll be interesting to see them kind of on the run for the FBI, which is a much lower scale than we're used to seeing in other Marvel properties.
Right.
I also did appreciate the humor near the end where he's like, "Suit blasters." Oh, I'm guessing that you didn't have that technology for me. No, I did.
Hold on. You gave her wings?
And blasters.
So I take it you didn't have that tech available for me?
No, I did.
And he just like, and I cracked a smile. I'm like, yeah, that's perfectly within Hank Pym's character to be a complete asshole and not give Paul Rudd actually good toys because he didn't trust him.
Always getting the shitty end of the stick, man.
Yeah, I think that's a bit sad. I'm not asking for Paul Rudd to be a super badass right at the gate, but like I'm hoping that he has his moments in this one because it does seem like they're going to focus mostly on the Wasp, basically being a badass. Would be interesting to see. I am interested in seeing their chemistry. They do seem that did seem to be the best part, and that was established even in the first movie. That she kind of mostly trained him, so she, in all instances, is pretty much Ant-Man. He just kind of he was just the expendable guy,
Right.
that somehow succeeded.
Okay.
So
Which is funny because I'm pretty sure people like Ant-Man more than Thor.
Yeah, they do actually, myself included.
And me as well.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
overall,
Oh no, finish up what you guys say.
Oh, I was just saying. In the end, I have a kind of I'm curious to see more. Okay. This seems like it'll be low key enough and standalone enough that I can just appreciate it for what it was, with some mid-link ties to the overall Marvel universe. having a fun heist movie is I'm pretty okay with that.
Okay.
Especially when you can be inventive with the ability to go big and small. That's something I haven't really seen before.
Okay.
Making puns, get 'em.
Hmm
90s. What did you think?
Oh, in all honesty, man, Dusk just said everything that my opinion was Dusk's opinion at this point. I'm really trying to think of anything more to say. I know it comes out July 6th. I just looked that up.
Mm,
Infinity War comes out in May, May 4th.
right.
So it's gonna have like a nice timing. I feel like to try to fit in with the rest. Or yeah, I guess I'll say fit in with the rest of them. I don't know what comes after this. Then,
Okay.
like, does anybody know what's the next big movie? Because Black Panther comes the 16th, I believe, right?
Yep.
The 16th of February.
Mm-hmm.
Then May
Then it was
4th.
Infinity War.
Oh yeah, Infinity War May 4th. Then Ant-Man on July 6th. I'm wondering what's gonna come after that. Like maybe sometime in the winter, maybe.
I think they only have 3 movies this year.
No, they only had 3 movies this year.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
But I don't know. At this point, I don't know how their phase 2 or phase 3 is going. I'm just taking them as they come. But
Yeah.
Honestly, it's almost exhaustive having 3 movies out in a single year.
man, that's the thing. I thought it would be more at this point because they're just packing them on top of each other. It's like
I know, Jesus.
Yeah.
Call of Duty games.
No.
After Ant-Man, I mean, 2019, you got the next Avengers film and then Captain Marvel. So that's what's coming next after that.
Ooh, yeah, it's a tough act right afterwards. But yeah, Ant-Man has a nice long way to like keep on people's radar. So I think he'll do good. I'm really hoping the movie is going to be good because it seems like he's going to find. Like Dusk, you said you hope he finally gets a break. I think he will. I really do think he will. Think he would.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry, I got choked up.
Okay. So, I mean, it's very interesting, like Dust pointed out, to see where this film lines up in the MCU timeline, whether this is after the events of Infinity War, whether it's like between what happens between Black Panther and Infinity War. That'd be very interesting to see, like, where this lines up. Also, I think it'll be a nice, like, cleansing of the palette when it comes to, like, after seeing Black Panther and after seeing Infinity War, like, these 2 probably really big climactic films, you know, because you see in Black Panther, they're fighting for Wakanda. You see in Avengers, they're fighting for the entire world. So it's nice to have that story with Ant-Man that's smaller, you know, like they did with Spider-Man Homecoming, that he's not saving the world or, you know, saving the whole galaxy. It's just something just more smaller and more intimate. I think, you know, like you pointed out, I mean, there's nice ways to see that they're using the shrinking technology, like how Hank Pym shrinks the building.
Run. We're still running.
Let's go.
And how he carries it. It does bring into question the aesthetics of that, like, you know, like the building, like, does it have plumbing? Did it have like tables and chairs in it that like are nailed to the floor? Do they just fall all over the place? Like, was there somebody maybe in the building, like, you know, like a maintenance man, you know, that got shrunk as well? Like, that brings up very interesting questions about that, like, as far as, like, you know, that stuff. But it just looks cool, so who gives a shit? It just looks cool. So I thought, and it was nice to see them, you know, use the shrinking technology in tons of different ways. Like when she shrinks the car and goes under the other car and then shrinks back and then shrinks big again to pop that other car up. That was really cool. I thought, you know, that was really good. And how, like, when you use the technology, how you can basically make everything a weapon. Like how there's a scene where they throw a Hello Kitty Pez dispenser out, and she just makes it big, and she almost crushes a guy with a Hello Kitty Pez dispenser. Like, that stuff is, you know, so that's, you know, using that stuff to really, its effectiveness and the humor of it, which was really funny, like they did in the first movie with Thomas the train engine. Like that whole fight scene they did in the little girl's playroom, and then the scene they did in the briefcase when, like, they were in the helicopter, him and Yellow Jacket. That's still, I think, 2 of the most, you know, I think, interesting, unique fighting scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I think those are really good, you know, and how they're using all these different, you know, kind of smaller objects and bouncing off of it. I think that stuff was really cool, and good to see them keep, you know, using that here. You also see Lawrence Fishburne, who said, "Fuck DC, I'm getting Marvel checks now." You know, he's in this movie. He plays Bill Foster's Black Goliath, and so It'd be very interesting to see whether or not he actually turn into Black Goliath, because he's basically like another Ant-Man type character who can get really big and really strong. You also see the villain of the film a little bit. Who the villain of the film is Ghost, and they changed the gender of the character, because in the comics it's a man, and then in this one it's a woman. So they changed it out. Ghost in the comics, the main point of what he does is usually that he sabotages mostly business tycoons. He's usually a main villain for Tony Stark, because he hates capitalism, hates like multi-billionaires like that.
Mr. Robot.
Basically, yeah, he's kind of like someone like that who just tries to sabotage those type of people. So
Best villain ever.
yeah, so I mean, and one of like two of his abilities is that he can like phase through walls, and he can turn himself invisible. So that'd be
that's the usual power too.
phasing.
When it comes to those type of people,
yeah,
when it comes to those type of people, they either teleport, invisible, or like you said, phase through walls. Those are the typical powers. So I like that.
Yeah, because he's like a hacker, genius hacker who is using his suit to do all that stuff. So it seems like the same stuff here. Like you see a scene where she's kind of like phasing. So it seems like they're doing the kind of similar stuff here. Evangeline Lilly is the Wasp. I mean, she's kicking a lot of ass. I love the scene where she's running on the blade. That looks really cool. I would like the costume to have more color, though. I mean, more yellow in it. Like they showed at the end of Ant-Man, her costume to have like way more yellow, way more kind of colors in it, like it is in the comics. But I think it's still cool to see her with wings. That's still nice. And to see her with these blasters, that all looks pretty exciting. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. Like I said, it'll be a nice kind of palate cleanser after all the big epic Marvel movies you've seen. They need something that's just more smaller and more kind of down to earth, as much as you can get with a guy who can turn himself into the size of an ant. So, I mean, that looks pretty cool. That looks really interesting. All right, so moving on from talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Hello, thanks for checking out our content. If you liked it, let us know, and if you didn't, let us know that as well. If you want to see more content, we post every Saturday on SoundCloud and YouTube at The Afternoon Tune. You can also find us through various social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all one word at The Afternoon Tune. And if you don't deal with any of that social media stuff, you can also find us through our email at theafternoontune@gmail.com. And don't forget to always stay tuned.